Yeah, two very happy players. Well done, guys. A brilliant win, and not many teams stopped City from scoring. So how pleased are you with that result?
Yeah, really pleased. I think I thought we played really well today. I think we built on what we did last weekend, and we knew it was going to be a really different challenge, but a hard one. And yeah, to come here, get a clean sheet, score some goals, perfect.
Now, your first goal for Tottenham, that high press from Spurs seemed to cause City all sorts of problems today.
Yeah, I think we deserve it, the victory, first of all. A top challenge for us again. I think we won with a lot of credit. I think we deserved this result. Happy as well from the clean sheet. So it's really important for us to keep this clean sheet again. And yeah, we are all happy with this victory. It was not easy, as I said before, but we are really happy.
What was the biggest draw for you to join Tottenham?
First of all, the coach, who pushed me to come here, show me the project that he has here in Tottenham, and after, of course, the club. It's such a great club. I had the opportunity to say before, I'm really glad to be in the Premier League again, to enjoy the Premier League like the last time that I have been here. I'm so happy, me and my family, and now I just want to enjoy this top club and this top atmosphere again.
It's been a great start under Thomas Frank Brennan. What's been the biggest change for you as players?
I think nothing massively. I think obviously two different coaches from last season and to the manager now that we have, but really enjoying it. I think a lot of detail goes into the set pieces, but at the same time, he gives us a lot of freedom in attacking areas as well. So yeah, it's a really good balance we got going on, and I think the way he kind of respects defending and wants us to be so hard to beat. I think the first two games we've kept two clean sheets, and especially against Man City, it's not easy. I've played here a lot of times and conceded a lot of goals. So yeah, it's not easy. So to come here and get a clean sheet is massive.
Well done today, guys.
Thank you. Cheers.
Position.
I think he's flexible. That's what he is. I think he doesn't mind adapting. He can go with a three at the back. We saw him against PSG. I thought he might adopt that today. He didn't. But he has protection in front. He knows what he possesses in the squad. He hasn't got that midfield player who's going to drop the shoulder and drive through holes. He lost Maddison to injury. He missed out on Eze, who's gone to Arsenal. Likes the Saar and Kerr. Palhinha, even Bergvall, they're pretty similar players. Great players, very good at what they do. They've got a lot of energy, get up and down the field, but they haven't got that little bit of guile. So he plays to their strengths. So he gives a little bit of protection to the back too. And he lets them cover the ground, cover the energy. And he gives the ball in wide areas. They get the ball into the box, they load up the box, and they're clinical in their finishing. Interesting, one thing that Brendan Johnson said there was interesting. He respects defending. Now, he's at a little side swipe at the previous regime. I would say, be careful what you're doing, because you lifted a trophy and you're down in the club's history because of one man, Ange Postecoglou. So I'm not saying he's being disrespectful. What I'm saying is that the way I read that is that he respects defending, perhaps someone else never in the past.
But it's been effective, hasn't it, Jolien? Because you look at the two games, clean sheet against Burnley, clean sheet against Manchester City, and the guy we just heard from alongside Brennan Johnson, Joao Palhinha, him and co did a great job in terms of nullifying Tijani Reinders, who was incredible at Molineux.
Yeah, they nullified his threat, his contribution throughout the game, and like Tim said, they offer a different role, a different strength. In games, they're probably the emphasis to have more possession. They probably aren't as effective, because it's dictating the rhythm of the play, but that isn't their strengths. But when they're asked to defend and spend a lot of time out of possession and concentrate on that, again, that's an underrated strength that they have.
You were getting excited, Tim, before, because there is going to be more to come from this team. It's such early days. Thomas Frank's only been there a matter of weeks working with these guys on the training ground. That there will be huge improvements last season on that league position. And after a win like that, you know where the narrative is going to be going. Well, why not? Why not, be pushing up towards those Champions League spots?
Yeah, why not? Why not do that? They're capable of doing it, but they need consistency to be able to do that, and the best teams have that consistency. I think they need to strengthen in certain areas, need to get some players back. I think Kulusevski gives them a different dimension. I think he has got the guile. He is someone who plays that disguised pass, who can open up defences. For me, they're going to struggle when teams sit back against them a little bit, with quality on the counter-attack. Pretty much what they did today. They sat back against City. At times, they put the press on high, They dealt with the long balls over the top. There was 2v2, and they were quite happy to deal with Haaland, Mickey van der Ven and Romero. They've been used to it. They've done it all last couple of seasons under Ange. So they were happy to do that, but at times they give them a breather. Everyone's funneled back in. So it's when the teams sit back against them, is that have they got that guile to open up? Because some teams want you to go wide and want you to cross the ball because they can deal with that sort of a threat. So the jury's still out, but, you know, they can't do more than what they've done at the moment. There's a feel-good factor around the place, largely because of what they've done last season, and he's taken it on. You can't not like Thomas Frank. He's a lovely guy. He obviously knows what he's doing. But the challenge is going to come when they start playing in the Champions League as well. Carabao Cup comes around, FA Cup, so can they challenge on all fronts? I would still a little bit light in their squad to be able to do that. But if he recognises one competition where he can be stronger than the other, there's no reason why they can't win another cup.
Studio, Robbie Mustoe, Tim Howard, I'm Rebecca Lowe. Robbie, good Spurs or bad Manchester City?
Oh, good Spurs, definitely bad Manchester City. So I'd say both. Both, yeah. I mean, it's surprisingly bad for Man City, surprisingly good last weekend at Wolves, surprisingly bad. Spurs won comfortably. I mean, I'm shocked at how easy that was. They were good, they were well organised. Thomas Frank deserves the most credit today for making tough decisions, for dropping 2 people in midfield after a great win last weekend, changing it, stiffening it up, pressed at the right times, dropped off, penalised City for their mistakes, playing out the back, etc. I mean, exciting for Tottenham, very, very concerning for Manchester City.
There will be talk about James Trafford and Manchester City's goal, but it's not just about him today. What else went wrong for City?
Well, I think they got overrun in the midfield. I think they got overpowered. We talked about Spurs having a powerful press, but Shirky wasn't up for it, really. When Bernardo Silva came on, he was a little bit behind physically. I don't often say that when teams go to the Etihad, they can overrun City's midfield, and that's what happened. There was a lot of power, particularly at the base of the midfield with Palhinha, who I think looks a really good signing. He's strong, he's at it, he can tackle, he can spring attacks, and then if he's on the front foot and tackling, then the players in front of him know they can go as well. It was well designed by Thomas Frank today.
Robbie, we are all the kings and queens of knee-jerk, aren't we, at times? So
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. That's our job. So last weekend, a lot of people jumped on oh, hang on a second, City are back.
Yeah.
This weekend, do we go back to where we were and we think, oh, maybe they're not, or do we just all have to try and be a bit more measured?
A little bit more measured. I think my knee-jerk was the midfield players and Tijani Reinders. And to be fair, he was outstanding last weekend. But that's more like what's going to happen more often.
Why?
Yeah. Because it's physical, the Premier League. It's super physical. As soon as you start looking like something special, managers are going to be right. Whoever it is, Palhinha, get all over him, be physical. He's already said he doesn't really like the physical side of it. Yeah. Shirky, cocky. I think Jim Bedlin called him in the way that he his demeanour on the field. They had no impact today. And that's the Premier League. There's all different types of hurdles you've got to get over. And they failed badly today, City.
Interesting.
With the goals, is your game plan going exactly as you hoped it would?
Yeah, there's of course positive parts. There's also a thing I like to do a little bit better, but of course it's positive.
Still another 45 to go and lots of talent in that City side. What do you need to be aware of?
Yeah, I think it's about us. I think we need, again, keep being brave in the phase one, keep being high pressure when we can, and then of course we need to suffer when we need to suffer.
Appreciate your time. Thank you
very much. Thank you.
City 0, Spurs 2 at the break. Jolene Lescott, Tim Sherwood in the studio. Tim, Spurs in front on 35 minutes. Brennan Johnson down the right-hand side. Very tight offside call. Did you see this coming, the way Spurs were playing?
Well, they had a game plan, trying to make it very difficult. We're going to go back to, Trafford, we'll see him make a mistake. They play out for a reason, and this is why you play out. You're going to play through all of the time, but what you're going to do is draw the opposition onto you, and you're going to play over the top like Porro does there. Goodos wins the header, very tight to being offside. Richarlison makes a run down the side. Obviously, John Stones slips, and it's a wonderful pass into Brennan Johnson. You see him score them time and time again. But over the top, put a load of Man City players out of the game. John Stones tries to stand up and play offside there, Jolien, but it was a wrong decision, wasn't it?
Yeah, the decision to... And it's a last-minute decision, hence him slipping. And then you're asking the defenders to recover, which they're not going to. He's in behind, and it's an easy finish for Brennan Johnson, but Spurs' game plan was there from the start, and they tried to get him behind like that early in the game, and it wasn't successful. But the one time you do, you've got to tap in. Good example also why the assistant referee kept his flag down, even though his eyes thought offside, tight in the end. But there we go, checked with VAR and goal stands. Before we see the second goal from Tottenham, an incident. What did you make of this, Tim? James Trafford on his home debut in the Premier League for Manchester City.
Handball or not?
Handball.
Outside the box.
I think it's handball.
Got to be a red card if it's
I think
given.
it's handball. I mean, his arm, you see it as he goes, he chases it down, kudos there, and he's outside the area. It hits him on the arm. This is a good, the angle there I think is good. It hits him on the right arm. He's outside of the area. Well, is it deliberate? I think he knows what he's doing. He's trying to put something in the way, otherwise Kudus is in on goal. So for me, I think it's very lucky. Here's the angle there, look. Right arm, hits it. Yes, the arm's not wide away from his body. It's still towards the silhouette of his body, but I think he's very lucky to get away with that.
Heart would have been racing, Jolene. Lucky boy, James Trafford there.
Yeah, I would say so. Like Tim said, I didn't see it first instance, but then it wasn't given. But this, then, I don't know if one led to the other, but the decision-making, I've tried to pass it in there. Even if it gets to Nico, I'm questioning where the outcome is. What does he have to do then to get out of that trouble? This picture here, it may look on, but again, he's only passes to John Stones anyway, so why don't you pass to John Stones and take that responsibility? But then when he ends up with 3 players in the box, you know what the outcome is.
1-0 down at that stage in the game, Tim, and you've got 3 players, including the goalkeeper, on your 6-yard line trying to play out. Is that the right thing?
You mentioned to me at the top of the show about lack of experience in the team. Now is the time you need experience. That's when you need it, an adversity. I mean, he has to make the correct decision. The correct decision there is they can all play. Goalkeepers can play with their feet, but decision-making at the right time is key. There's Ederson sitting on him. I mean, he's obviously not enjoying it. The goalkeepers are very tight-knit, you know, they look after each other. It's a poor decision what he's made. He should have gone over the top. But even if you're going to give it to Nico Gonzalez, you've got to give it to his left foot, away from the Sar. On there, away, safe side, we call it, you know, away from him, or he goes out to Stones. He's made the poor decision. It's not his ability to be able to pass that 5-yard pass. It's just a setup. I blame, and I very rarely blame Pep Guardiola, I blame the system rather than the kid there. Yeah. He's made a poor decision. Of course he is. Now he's up against it. What are they going to do now?
You wonder what that means.
You need a strong character to get through that now.
You wonder what all to do, trailing Spurs by 2-0. How, without over-egging the pudding, Jolie, and how costly could that Trafford mistake be for him going forward?
Yeah, it could be huge. The decision to play him next week, the decision to sign a new goalkeeper. It could have a big impact, but he can't focus on that. He's got to focus on this next half, not to make any more mistakes and just to get back in the game.
How difficult is that, though, as a player, when you've had a howler?
Yeah, it's difficult, especially as a defensive-minded player, because you don't have the opportunities then to go and win the game and change the outcome of the game. It's kind of like you have to wait for another scenario where it may deem simple, but you just have to do the right thing and try to play your way back into the game.
Let's have it right. Ederson's made them mistakes as well.
Yeah.
You know, but the spotlight's on him. Ederson, the main man who they've won everything with, is sitting on the bench there looking at it, and Pep's made a big decision to put the boy in, brought him back to the football club, but he's made a howler there. Really feel for him. It's going to be very difficult for Tottenham, for Man City to get back in it. Anyone other than Man City, you would say this game would probably be dead. They've got so much ammunition sitting on that bench. You can never write them off.
Big chances. You quite rightly, Jolene, pointed out that, you know, Haaland's miss and Marmoush, that effort saved, are as big as a howler at the back.
Yeah, of course they are, but they go and recognise because they don't lead to goals, and goals change games, as we're well aware of. So if they both go in, it's a different game. But yeah, I'm sure Haaland will look at that chance and be like, I had a chance here to dig a teammate out.
Everything that looked great at Molineux, the game that you covered last week, where is that from Manchester City? It looks quite reminiscent of last season when they go behind.
Yeah, I think it's the opposition. I think they were giving up similar opportunities to Wolves, but they didn't have the quality that Spurs have. And slightly bit of luck. Listen, John Stones hasn't meant to slip, but when you do slip, and it's with Richarlison and Brennan Johnson, who we think is very efficient in front of goal, they lead to falling behind.
Yeah. Romero, the right leader, the right captain for Spurs going forward?
Well, yeah, I think he's got a good partnership with Mickey van der Ven. I think he'll appreciate a little bit more cover from the midfield players this season than he did last year. Not necessarily Mickey will, because he's quite happy to have the race in behind. I'm not sure Romero wants to race in behind, but sometimes we saw him last year getting carried away and ended up on the left wing, you know, and I'm sure we'll see this under Thomas Frank anymore. For me, he's given the armband for the responsibility, because he can be a liability at times, he really can, because he makes rash challenges at the wrong time. His discipline lets him down. And I think it's to calm him down a little bit. So it's not necessarily, obviously, he's saying very nice things about the new manager. You just been awarded the armband. It's a new start. And there's no reason to say anything negative towards Thomas Frank at the moment, because he's done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Let's just hope that hope that he continues with that positivity and it breathes to the rest of the players, because read a lot of things last year about him possibly wanting to leave the football club. You know, every time he went international break, it seemed to be coming out into the papers that possibly Real Madrid or someone else. And I'm not sure. I'm not necessarily saying it comes from Romero. It looks like he's got his mind fully on Tottenham Hotspur, and that's where it should be.
Yeah, very different characters to Son. I wonder if we see that in the style of Tottenham play. But interesting quote that I picked out from just listening to him there. He said from the first day that he arrived, talking about Thomas Frank, he's brought a sense of calm to the team, a sense of unity. We're more defensively organised, and when we attack, we try to be on the front foot, more defensively organised. Are we having that, Jolien?
Yeah, I would say definitely more balance, and I think that is key. Listen, we was all excited from the start from Ange, but as it went on, you could see that he was exposing too many players in the wrong areas, and definitely he would have felt that. I felt that just watching them. But in regards to longevity and success, you definitely need to have more balance.
Yeah.
But especially when you're attacking. The focus on teams now is when they're in possession, what the shape looks like behind the ball. It's key to nullifying attacks, and that was, again, to their detriment last season.
And we've only got as a sample size in the Premier League a game against Burnley, newly promoted at home, Tim. But last season, an example of struggling against new sides in the Prem.
Yeah, newly promoted sides, when I thought they was a little bit petulant with their play, like jumping too early from wrong areas and not really making any tackles, getting in and around players but not really tackling them, and they were allowing teams to break on them far too quickly and leaving space in behind as well. So a little bit more organisation. I think a little more cover in front, so it makes the play a little bit more predictable for the centre-backs when they know it's coming over the top. You see him jumping too early, shouldn't be going in there. Look, fine margins, reckless challenge from the outset there, and they're getting behind, and it's an easy tap-in for Jamie Vardy. So, look, it didn't start very well. This year. You see, this is... when there's a solid base there, Jolien, they know there's an opportunity that they might lose the ball, and they keep a nice solid shape about them.
And the obviously difference is the arrows were going back. They were looking to nullify the attack rather than to win the ball. Romero last season definitely goes into that challenge, whether he wins it or not, who knows, but the outcome is how do we delay the attack, and that is sometimes more important than winning the ball. We don't need to win it on the halfway line because we're not going to score from that, but if we do miss it, they're through on goal, so it's always recognising what's the risk to reward balance.
Yeah, 65 goals they conceded in the Premier League last season. That's a hell of a lot for a Tottenham team. But as a central defender, it's asking a lot of you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Obviously, if you've got the gas of Mickey van der Ven, fine.
But even that, I still wouldn't be encouraging it. Listen, I wasn't the fastest, but I was comfortable doing certain things, and defending is an art, and I don't think it's respected enough in regards to not everyone can and has to defend the same way. It was like, well, we're all going to ask you to get into a race every time you are asked to defend, and the one game that stands out is the Chelsea game. I'm thinking, you're asking them to race Raheem Sterling. Like, you're not going to win every time. So it's just a case of what's the right decision to
Interesting as well. We can read a lot into that Romero interview, but he said he's brought a sense of calm, Thomas Frank. They are very different characters, aren't they? And I wonder if he will be... Well, we know he won't be as stubborn as Postecoglou tactically, will he?
No, I think he will adapt. I think Ange had a certain way of playing. He wanted to stick to that no matter who the personnel was. And he was criticised for that. But I find it hard to sit here and criticise Ange Postecoglou. There's a lot of us ex-managers at Tottenham who tried to win a trophy and we didn't succeed, but that man did. So I tip my hat to him.
Yeah.